Hello, I'm Earl, and welcome to Oral Gives Live. Well, for the first time, this gentleman is back in a different capacity. I remember many years ago I had him here on the program, and that was a long time ago. Then he came back a few times as a politician. He's back as a politician, but now as Prime Minister of St. Martin. Prime Minister Dr. Luc Mercelina. How are you doing, Doctor?
Laurel, how are you?
Great, thanks.
Very happy to be in your program, and once more, thank you very, very much for the opportunity that you gave me to be in your program. Thank you for that.
And thank you for accepting the
You're
invitation.
welcome.
It's good to have you in the program. As I said, we've had you many times before.
Many times.
I remember the first time I had you, you spoke about your work as a surgeon.
Yes.
And I could see the passion. I still see that passion.
Also for government, and also for St. Martin, of
Right.
course.
It's been a very, hectic, 3 weeks now for you?
Yes.
Approximately?
Since the 3rd of May,
Yeah.
it has been a very intense 3 weeks, especially realizing the status of the country when I took it over as Prime Minister 3 weeks ago, having a totally different reality than what the impression was that was given by the former government. Next to that, of course, as you know, we had gone through some black pages in our history of politics of Country St. Martin with what transpired on the 20th of May, that we had lost the majority and support of Parliament for our government, and then 5 days later to have the support again. That means that we have to move forward with new elections for Country St. Martin, and those elections will take place on the 19th of August coming. But okay, in the meantime, I'm the Prime Minister of the country in a dimensionaire cabinet, that is how you call it, and that means that I'm the caretaker government as the Prime Minister. And hopefully the people were so glad that we were in this government that I'm looking forward actually to continue with this mandate after the elections that we will have on the 19th of August 2024.
You know, a lot of people were happy to see that there was a new government.
Yes.
But then everything started so slow. Everyone was very impatient,
Yes.
seeing how slow the government was forming.
Yes, the formation of the government had a few challenges. One of them is that there are no evident laws that prescribes how the procedure has to be. So legal-wise, there are some challenges in the formation process. And next to that, you have the VDSM, the Veiligheidsdienst St. Martin, that has the files of the candidate ministers, that they go through their report, their examination, their research of the candidates. And the same dossier goes also to the Attorney General, the Procureur-Generaal.
Yeah.
And once you hand over these files from the candidate ministers to the VDSM and the PG, the Procureur-Generaal, the Attorney General, you do not have a control when you're going to get feedback and end result of their research. And that means if they want to take 4 weeks or 6 weeks, in this case they took more than 6 weeks, I, as a formateur, was sitting there waiting, but I didn't have a grip and a control about the process of getting to the point for them to deliver the end result of their research. And a lot of people thought that I had challenges. It was not true. I was always on time, but because of the fact that I didn't get a feedback from the VDSM and the PG, constantly I had to ask the governor for extension, because I'm the formateur. The VDSM or the PG is not going to ask extension for the formation process. So that means that I, as a formateur, had to do that. And people thought I had to do that because I was not ready. No, I was just waiting on the PG and the VDSM. The problem is there are also a lot of unwritten constitutional norms that are being used in the process, while it's not documented in laws. So we make use of a lot of rituals, habits, history, ways of doing things, but it has never been documented in a way that the guidelines are evident how a formateur, what are the guidelines and the rules and the laws that the formateur has to actually keep to for us to be able to form a government. So, and I think it's time, and I said it in my inaugural, in my speech, on the 3rd of May, I said to the people that it's time now for us to regulate the screening of candidate ministers for Country St. Martin. And secondly, we have to start working on the electoral reform too for this country, seeing all the snap elections that we are going through that has some contradiction in the electoral national ordinance and also the ordinance concerning the financing and registration of political parties.
Do you think there's political will to do that? Because that's been discussion for many years right now.
Under Cabinet Mercelina, everything that does not have a will get a will. It's because of a lack of will in the past years that we are today where we are.
Right.
Oral, I'm now in this government building every day. People are so happy to see that there is a new wind in this building. Persons that dare to take a decision, dare to realize that we cannot continue with this country the way we have been governing this country. It's time now for us to put country above self, and we have to take the right decision for the common vision of development and evolution of this country. We cannot continue governing this country the way we have been doing, Oral. If we continue the way we are doing this, we're going to get a country that is going to be a lost for the future of St. Martin.
I know you served at one time as a member of parliament.
Yes.
Now as prime minister, what surprised you most about this job that you didn't know before?
About being a prime minister? Being very restricted in finance to be able to make changes in a country, in a nation. Most of the time you need finance to make radical changes in a country. And Oral, what is a big handicap for the evolution of this nation is a lack of professional treasury for this country. We do not have enough professionals to execute the projects that we envision for this country. And if you do not have a rich professional treasury for your country, you're going to actually stagnate the further development of your country. So we need to expand the professionals, the know-how for our country. Without this human resources, we're not going to get through with this country.
You know, Mr. Prime Minister, I've been doing television interviews for over 40 years in St. Martin.
Yes.
I've heard the same thing you said over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I'm so disappointed in our political establishment, the culture around our politics and our people, that when you do get qualified St. Martiners, they're pushed away. I give you one quick example. My daughter, a lawyer from Dutch universities, and the very government tried to destroy her.
Yes.
So where are we going to go, Mr. Prime Minister? For all these years, what you said is so true, but we're not going anywhere.
No, but Oral, the big majority that pretends to have a saying in governing this country are feeling threatened by those with an education. That is what is happening now with myself. I come with an evident vision, a totally different approach for governing this country, and the only thing they want to do is try to destroy me and destroy my government, pure based on threat. We are using another formula that they do not know about, and they don't know how to work and deal with it. So everything that is unknown is a threat for humankind, and that is what is happening. For example, with your daughter, a very educated young lady with a legal background, a legal mind, comes to St. Martin, are being boycotted with people with less education than she has. Yeah. Thinking too that they can dictate the future of these young professionals that are taking a risk to come back to their country, realizing in what ambiance they're coming to work. And I think that is wrong, and we will have to include new young professionals in this country, because one absolute pillar for further development of a country is working in enriching your professional treasury of your country. Without human resources, you cannot move forward. The country is not possible.
And I think the image of you as a person and as Prime Minister for St. Martin is new. Never before they've had a person of your stature. Yeah. So I think it's important, and a lot of people are sorry to see that his government only survived, 17 days, and now they have to go back to the polls, and they don't know what's going to happen as they go back to the polls again.
Yes, but I have the firm conviction, Arnold, that people mandated another group of people to take over the direction of this country. And they managed with the outcome of the last elections. And I think now it's in the hands of the people. That's why I pulled Article 59 on them, to give them the tool in their hands back to show the establishment that has been controlling this country for years that I, as a Prime Minister, is not thinking back on the history only of St. Martin, but that we have to move forward this country under different circumstances and formulas. And of course, it's very threatening what I'm doing for this country, but Aurel, you cannot imagine the support that I'm getting outside there, the feedback, the reactions that I get of people, and I'm convinced that we are going to do very, very good in the upcoming elections because we have now go into another road. It's very difficult for us to go back to the old tradition of how St. Martin has to be governed.
I guess it just joined us this All Gives Live. My guest is the Prime Minister of St. Martin, Dr. Luc Mercelina, and we're here speaking with him on Hot 99.9 FM radio, Facebook, and YouTube. Doctor, you inherited a bankrupt country.
Yes, absolutely. To balance a national budget of a country is very easy. You just play with a few figures, you balance a budget, you present it to Parliament, and it is what it is. Now that we go in, we realize the deficits of this budget. Aurel, I'm not exaggerating with you. This government is functioning from month end to month end. Parallel with that, in a country that the individual citizen is not living now from month end to month end, but from day, another dollar, combined with a government that is actually functioning from month end to month end, it's going to be catastrophic for the country. And if you know the financial status of this country, there are no options and possibilities for us to make significant investments that is going to change the further development of this country. We have so many debts in this country. Next to that, we have more than 1.4 billion debt on national level for this country. Aurel, the figures that I'm talking today about the national debt of this country, my grandchildren will still be paying those debt. And that is money actually that we could have used to contribute to development of this country. Instead of using the money to work on projects to push forward this country, we are using generations to come just to pay back debts. In that way, in that formula, we will never get through to get St. Martin on another level concerning development.
In your short time as Prime Minister, and now that you're caretaker government, have you had discussions with the Dutch government? Yes,
I have had different conversations with the government, especially also with State Secretary Van Huffelen. Coincidentally, coming Friday, she is landing here in the Netherlands, in St. Martin. I'm going to meet her on Friday.
Since she loves St. Martin, looks like.
She loves St. Martin. I'm telling you, she loves St. Martin. And because I know that, I'm going to be extra dedicated in this visit because I need some cooperation from her side to get what I need, what I think is necessary to help my country. So I'm receiving her coming Friday, and I hope that this visit will help me out to get some approvals of a other look and approach to this community that is in their need at this particular moment.
Have you compiled a list of what's really urgent right now?
Yes.
For St. Martin?
Combating of poverty, elevating the social welfare of this country, mental health care in this country, social and affordable housing. Aurel, it's about jobs, and jobs for the people, and education of our people. Education and jobs goes together, and at the other side, we have to start working on a holistic approach in healthcare, not only for your physical approach to care, but also your mental approach to healthcare. And healthcare, especially mental healthcare, is a big challenge now in this country. I am going to speak with Van Huffelen coming Friday because she's very sensitive for this topic, by the way, and I spoke with her about it already, and I'm going to just again revisit these topics with her because I really need finance for me to do something with the mental health care of this country, the social housing, affordable housing, of this country. And these are the specific things that you have to work on at this particular moment for St. Martin, and of course combating of poverty, and try to elevate the level of social welfare for the people of this country.
You know, when the state secretary was here a few months ago actually, last year, she was here on this program, and we spoke about a lot of things, and we also spoke privately about GEBE. GEBE, the local water and electricity company, in the last 3 years now, has been operating, I don't know how to describe it. I'm trying to measure my words here. I think the entire population is not satisfied with what's happening at GEBE. A temporary management is there. They don't give information to the public. We don't know what's going on. Billing is a mess. It seems like something has to be done very urgently with GEBE, Doctor. The reason why I say this too is because right here where we are, it's a commercial area of St. Martin, the second commercial area of St. Martin outside of Phillipsburg. You can't have your electricity going off 2 and 3 times a day at the most busiest time of business. That's unacceptable.
First of all, Oris, that GEBE, as such, the people working there are very dedicated. We have to be careful with attacking GEBE as such and not linking it to the fact that it has been an extension arm of politicians in the past. And that is the cause that GEBE is where it is today. And in case, instead of looking back to the politicians that have been using GEBE as an extension arm for their political benefit, we are looking to the poor people of GEBE. And I cannot live with that one, because if there are people very, very concerned for what they're doing in GEBE, I can tell you, I have visited recently the GEBE. These people are very committed. But the problem of GEBE is malmanagement for years by influence of politics too. But now we have 7 engines there working. One of them is out of the 7, and the engines are old and they have to be replaced. Each engine cost approximately 14 million. And coincidentally now, engine 19 is out, and this engine 19, the
That's a big engine.
It's a big engine, and the crankshaft is the problem.
Again?
They have to replace it.
Wow.
And that is going to cost approximately 2.3 million to change this crankshaft of this machine. But at the end of the day, for GEBE to be, the problems of GEBE to be solved, we have to actually expand the capacity of GEBE. We have to buy new engines, and each engine is 14 million. It's all about a matter of financing and money.
You know, Mr. Prime Minister, I was on the GEBE board for 2 years, supervisory board of directors, so I know the company very well. I know the dedication of the employees, and I agree with you that politics play a major role.
Major role.
But many mistakes were made over the years at GEBE, and I'm sure Ms. Webster, who's your party and a minister
of
cabinet, can tell you about it, because when we were on the supervisory board, we appointed her as chief
COO.
So she knows the company very well.
Yes.
The problem is with GEBE, we got to stop the politics.
Of course, and I told you, all politicians in the past have used GEBE as an extension arm for their personal benefits. And that has broken the company in the years that we are today where we are. We cannot continue doing that, and we have to be serious with this company, because it's a pillar that contributes to sustainability of this country. And I think personally, this is a matter now of big money to have to be put on the table for us to replace this engine. If we do not come with new engines for this GEBE, you're going to see already by December, we're going to get in high season a big challenge with the energy supplies of this country. Combination of overconsumption to the amount of tourists coming to the island, combined with the progressive increase in demand due to the projects that are coming on in St. Martin, that as such is good for the economy of the country, but on the other side, it's a too big demand for what can be done as supply from the GEBE side to make sure that everybody can enjoy energy in this country.
The problem is also, Mr. Prime Minister, is that people are put on boards that have no backbone.
That is the disease of St. Martin. We put people in place because it's a friend of ours, it's a political alliance of a specific political party, and that makes that the selection is never based on capability, it's always based on cronyism, friendship, political alliance, and then you get the wrong person sitting in a wrong chair to take the right decision for the country. It's not possible. It's time now, honest, for us to put capable people in the right chairs to take the right decision for the country. And that is my problem now, Oral, as Prime Minister of this country. I have these types of vision and approach, but it's scary for a lot of people, because if we do not do this radical change in approach in the way to manage this country, we're going to continue repeating ourselves in history instead of making it possible for this country to evolve. And I really believe that we have to do that, but that makes, of course, that I'm going to get from the ones outside here a lot of resistance for us to do things different. And my biggest challenge sitting in that chair, and they succeeded partially, is to make sure that they destabilize the government the moment the government is not singing their song. And that is what happened recently. And I'm going to persist, I'm going to commit, and I'm going to stay focused with this government. And after election, the same, to convince the people that the time is there for a change to continue for this country.
What about the airport? Have you got any information on the airport since you began Prime Minister?
But Aron, I'm doing it different. I don't want to hear stories. I don't want to hear promises. I come and I tell them, I want this airport ready that day. I just came in. I told them I'm going to give you till November for this airport. If after November, read my lips, this airport is not delivered, I'm going to change everything in that airport. I have no enemies, but I told the airport they're going to get from me. First, I told them September. They told me, please give me 2 more months, October, November. I said, I have no problem with that, but that's the only way now to do business. Firm hand, evident in what you want for your country, leadership. And I told airport, November. After November, this airport is not ready. It's over for this management, and then we have to move forward. But the way they are impressed with my deadline, I think they have to deliver this airport for me, because I'm getting a little exhausted to waiting for this airport that is actually the door for our economy.
Well, I gotta say, I admire that. You have our support.
Thank you.
We'll be reminding you on that.
Oral, I love this country. Yeah. I have nothing to lose. The people gave me the opportunity to lead this country, and I'm going to do what I have to do. And if the people understand what I'm doing, that would be great. And if they don't, at least I tried. That is the way I'm looking at it.
The new hospital.
Yes.
I know you've said a lot of things about it. Now you're Prime Minister.
Yes. I have coincidentally, in the coming 2 weeks, I have a meeting with a hospital. I want things to be evident. Everybody is hiding behind everybody to give accountability to the progress of this hospital. I'm now in a position that I can have a clear overview about all the stakeholders that are involved in the construction of this new hospital for Country St. Martin. And what I'm going to do, and people that have sit with me in meetings already know my style, nobody stands up from that table, although decisions are taken and action plans are put on paper for a follow-up on short term. So what we are doing now is we are going to meet with the stakeholders that are involved in the construction of the hospital, and there has to be clearness about the responsibility of each stakeholder in this, and that gives accountability to the government to where they're all standing, and we're going to make timelines now in the realization. And especially what I want is an overview of the financial status, how much money has been spent already in this hospital, where we're standing now, and what is the future in financial investment to finalize the project. I do not want this hospital to end up with a the Curaçao Medical Center, the CMC, that they started with a project of 300 million and ended up with a nightmare of 850 million. So if we want to have a better overview and control about the expenditures to build this hospital, we better come clear on the table and give accountability to this government. Hopefully I will have enough time, Oral, for me to finalize my envisioned plan for St. Martin, and hopefully the people will endorse me, mandate me again to be back in government, and then we're going to proceed and move forward with this country.
You know, I pass there every day, and I see the new hospital under construction. They're still in the foundation.
They're still in the foundation.
Yeah. And it's been years now.
Very painful.
Yeah.
You know, Oral, and we're losing a lot of money. Construction is very easy. Construction that stands still is losing money. And the pace that this hospital is being constructed signals that we are actually in an irresponsible way constructing this hospital. And that's why I have this meeting with the hospital. They have to give accountability for us to make a new balance where we're standing and see how we're going to move forward with this project, especially for us not to surprise ourselves in the nearby future, realizing the outcome from the expenditures that we did not calculate, and then we'll get repercussions on the people of this country. That is happening in Curaçao. Who is going to pay that bill, that gap in the bill? And I don't want the people of St. Martin to pay for that.
TLM, another government-owned company.
Yeah.
Have you got any information on that?
We are busy with TLM to get a good overview about the organization and especially the internal developments going on with all those that voluntary or not lost their job by TLM. We have to change the direction and vision that we have for telecommunication for country St. Martin. If we don't do that, another opportunity is lost for us to revive this TLM. And that's why we have meetings also with the TLM. I'm going to have meetings also with the unions. And from there on, we're going to move forward because TLM falls under General Affairs, and I'm the Prime Minister with the portfolio of the Ministry of General Affairs too. And TLM falls under me too. So we have to, at a certain moment, move forward with this TLM and do what has to be done. Actually, what you see, all the pillars that we need to make a country sustainable, being hospital, airport, telecommunication, education, we are failing on all fronts with this country. And as a leader, it's my responsibility to wake up the people of St. Martin and tell them, guys, we have to wake up with this country. We are losing utility, we are losing hospital, we are losing telecommunication, and we are losing airport. If you lose those four, you lose the sustainability of a country.
Well, I think the port is the only one that seems to be operating pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah. But at least something. But still, the other four are actually very weak pillars on which St. Martin can be supported on.
I'm surprised that some schools have not been rebuilt since Hurricane Irma.
Yes.
And I had one of the ministers of education here on this program a few years back. He later became prime minister for a short time. And he said that at the time, the World Bank didn't have schools as a priority. I couldn't believe that. And you, the Minister of Education, and accept that from the World Bank. And then you hear that the government of St. Martin is the one who have to propose the different projects. So I don't know what's going on really right now. In fact, the World Bank seems to be the one that making decisions for St. Martin along with the NRPB. We didn't elect the World Bank, and we didn't elect NRPB. We elected people like you.
Yes.
So now that you're prime minister, we want to know what's going to happen to these schools that are abandoned.
Our leadership is taking lead in the direction that you want this country to go. That is what I'm doing. For example, now with this World Bank and Trust Fund money, for me priority is, for example, mental health care for this country. That's one. The other one is social housing for this country and affordable housing.
Right.
We are screaming because we are in need of the basics of life being a roof on top of our head. So it's not about what the World Bank wants, it's about making sure that we get what we need for our country, and we need a more active participation in the decision making when it comes to external aid financially for our country. We always make the mistake is because somebody else is financing the project, we have no saying in it. No, you have to have a saying to determine if it's going to accomplish what you want to achieve for your country. And that is what I'm doing, and that's why I'm going, for example, now to Washington fast, because we're tending to lose $230 million because the World Bank doesn't want to continue to supervise after 2028 the projects in St. Martin, because the deal is still to 2028, and I don't want to lose that money. That's
How much is this again?
230 million, because the money is allocated, but we did not, because of lack of manpower.
Yeah.
We could not actually adhere to the procurements necessary in the preparatory phase to finalize the projects on paper to be able to execute, and that means that we will not reach the ultimatum of 2028. And then the World Bank said, we are finished with the mission, so we're going to give back the money to the Netherlands. I lobbied already with the Netherlands and told them, please don't take away this 230 million. It's going to help my country enormously. And I'm flying now to Washington next week to try to convince World Bank not to be too rigorous with us and help us for us to have some more time to execute the projects.
Well, I'm surprised, Mr. Prime Minister, because the government of St. Martin, along with the steering committee, were the two bodies that got these projects together.
Yes.
And I remember being told by a member of the steering committee that the government of St. Martin were the ones who had to present these projects, and then they will give the okay to NRPB to finalize it.
Yeah.
Now I'm surprised that we're in 2024, 230 million
It's still there.
is still there. And
Not executed.
I can't believe that.
I'm telling you. And why? Because that is what I said in the beginning of this interview. Lack of professional treasury to execute for us to be able to realize these projects. And if you want to have disturbance of development in your country, is the moment that you have lack of professionals and great human resources to execute. And that is what made it difficult for us to finalize the projects on time. And that's why we are now in the phase that I have to run now to the World Bank to tell them, please give us a few more years for us to be able to finalize the projects the way we would like to help St. Martin.
All right. In case you just joined us, it's Oral Gives Live. My guest is the Prime Minister of St. Martin, Prime Minister Dr. Luc Mercelina. You're watching us on Facebook, YouTube, or you're listening to us on Hot 99.9 FM radio. When we come back, we'll continue right here with the Prime Minister. Please stay us right here on Hot 99.9 FM radio, Oral Gives Live.
We are vibrant, expressive, warm, and diverse. Together, we conquer, and now we expand into new horizons, giving you more of the best. Introducing our new Banco Matico Plus with wider acceptance, purchase protection, and enhanced security. Whether you're online, traveling, or in paradise, experience more with Windward Island Bank. Banco Matico Plus. More of the best.
My guest here on Oral Gives Live is the Prime Minister of St. Martin, Prime Minister Dr. Luc Mercelina. He's my guest on Oral Gives Live, and you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, or you're listening to us on Hot 99.9 FM radio. You know, there's so many things on this island that needs to be fixed. And you know, look, I love St. Martin. This is where I made all my investments. I have nowhere else to go. Some people can go somewhere else. After Hurricane Irma, I saw people streaming out of St. Martin. I couldn't go anywhere. I have to stay here. This is my home. A lot of people on St. Martin can't go anywhere. And you mentioned something about housing. Housing for years has been a huge problem for St. Martin.
Very big problem.
And it still remains a problem. But you didn't say how you want to tackle that problem.
You know, Arnold, for example, now we have a project for housing for St. Martin. The World Bank was a little reluctant to actually go in that direction with us to finance housing. Why? Because they realized that there were some issues with the St. Martin Housing Foundation. You know the challenges that we
Right.
have
Exactly.
to get a good management of the houses in Belvedere, for example. That's one. Secondly, issues with land to build those social housing. It takes time to negotiate to be able to allocate land to construct these houses. We are now so far that we know exactly where we can build those social housing. For example, the Foga area. For example, Hope Estate. We know now where we can go for building of social housing for
But Hope
countries.
Estate is owned by GB, that property there.
Exactly, but every land that you touch in St. Martin is a problem. It has to do with succession land, it has to do who is the owner, it's always a problem. So land is a problem. Secondly, the not realizing how to execute the manpower that I said is a problem, and also the preparatory work that we have to do with the manpower. We can't do that neither, and also the weak position of the central of the St. Martin Housing Foundation. The question is, if you have a big project coming for social housing for St. Martin, is it the intention that you're going to leave it in the structure that it is with this St. Martin Housing Foundation, or you're going to change the whole structure, how you're going to actually control and supervise social housing for Country St. Martin, and how you're going to organize it? So many challenges before you can build one social housing in this country, and that is taking too long time now. And that's why now I have some meetings coming up now for us to be able to allocate the lands that we want, where we want it, and secondly, to do an inventory, how far we are with the design of the houses, and see exactly with the land how far we are, and also, are we able to do it under the supervision of the St. Martin Housing Foundation? Or are we going to change the whole structure to give guarantee of good supervision of those houses?
The land that is owned by GB at the Hope Estate, it's a good piece of land.
Yes.
I don't know if you're aware of it, but I'm sure Veronica can tell you about it. There are so many things that could be done there. You could take it over for housing and use the rooftops for solar energy, sharing it right back with GB. GB is a government-owned company. It shouldn't be that complicated
It's
and
not so
difficult to get this thing done.
The goodwill has to be there.
Yeah.
The problem is in St. Martin, we say with our mouth that we love St. Martin, and the only thing we do the whole day is destroy the same St. Martin. We are master in that. That is something typical of people living in this island. The whole day they criticize, they break each other, they hurt each other, and on the other hand, they tell you they love St. Martin. St. Martin is a great place. I don't get it, but this is how we are. We like to criticize, and so we like to destroy. And we have to stop it at all. We have to become positive people. We have to learn to work together, hold each other's hand, and make sure that we do a common effort to have positive progress for this country. That is where we have to go. And this inclusive way, inclusiveness in approach is going to be the key of how Dr. Mercelina would like this country to go on governmental level. But it's difficult because, as you know, we don't like to work together. We like to fight all day with each other, and we like to destroy each other. That is what we are mastering.
You know, maybe because I've been doing this for so long,
We don't even
and
realize.
I've spoken to so many people, I see sometimes the problem that we are in, and I want to say, well, let me just throw up my hands and forget about it. The reason I say this is that when Belvedere was completed, I spoke with someone that was involved in it at the time. They had brought him in from Aruba. He was an engineer running there. He said to me, Oral, housing is a big problem. Belvedere is finished, but it's not sufficient. We need housing for people in the range of 175 to 200 guilders.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're aware of that, Mr. Prime Minister. The people of Samara, they're not making that much money.
That's a
The
problem.
minimum wage. So he was right over 20 years ago, and I think he's still right today.
Today, yes. You know, there is a disconnect about, for example, middle class. In St. Martin, the middle class that we have here is a policeman married with a teacher. For example, in the Netherlands, that's a middle class. Would be able to get a mortgage by the bank. The same policeman married with a teacher, they go to a bank here to purchase a house of $250,000, $300,000. The bank is going to tell them, guys, your salaries together is not enough to comply with the demands of a mortgage of $300,000. So there is a discrepancy between what people owe here on a monthly basis compared to what should be defined as middle class in a country. So that's why I mentioned just now the term affordable housing. But affordable housing is actually just to give the policeman married with a teacher the opportunity to be able to buy a house in their own country. But even that is a big challenge. So actually, those policemen and those teachers, actually financially, they fall in the lower social class if you compare it to the Netherlands, while actually they should be in the middle class of Netherlands too, but they are not. So there is a discrepancy about affordable housing for teachers from the middle class, for policemen, for example, compared to the Netherlands. And that is a big problem, that we realize that they deserve better, but their salaries are too low to comply to get a mortgage, to have a decent life in a house of $250,000, $300,000.
When it comes to business, I've been an advocate for local business all my life. These days I speak with young St. Martiners who have started a business or want to start a business. They're all saying the same thing. It's difficult to get financing. And I think it's about time that government have set aside a few million guilders in the budget to stand guarantee for new business to assist them, help them. The government going to get the money back in taxes down the road anyway.
Yes. Big picture, artists, that's the future of this country. That is one, what you just mentioned. Another one is to make a one-stop shop for investors and for those taking initiative. Go to one desk. From one desk, you get everything arranged to start a business in a short period of time. Here, for you to start a business, they send you to 10 windows, 10 doors, 10 offices, and at the end of the day, you lose overview of how to start a business in this country. And I advocate for a one-stop shop for businesses. If it's an international big investor or a local investor, a one-stop shop to help them. And secondly, make the climate for local business initiative more attractive for the people. You have to help your people too. If you don't help them, everybody's going to stay at the standstill level that they are now, and there will be no progress in this country.
I don't know if you've met with the banking association.
Yes.
But that's the other nightmare in St. Martin right now. If you want to open an account, it's a nightmare. Can you imagine a young man or woman starting a business and what the banks are requiring of them right now? It's unbelievable, doctor. If this is going to continue like this, then you know what? We're going to continue seeing everyone else come from all over the world, start a business, but our own people can never get involved because we'll get one or two, but the process is so difficult that most of them are going to be left out.
Otto, a significant question has to be answered for the bank world in St. Martin. And it's very direct what I'm going to tell you. The banks in St. Martin have to be honest with me as Prime Minister if they're here in a working relationship with this community to get something from the community, but also to engage with the community, or are they here only to make money and run away with it? And the banks here in St. Martin are not so engaged in social development of this country. The only way for a bank to be successful in a country that is functioning is to be socially engaged in the community that they work. And that is not the case. Banks are not interested in what is going on in the country. They just want to make money and that's it. That has to change. Banks are making a lot of money in this country. I think there should be another approach of give and take too in this community. But how I see the banks here, they are only for themselves and they are not engaged to help the community to move forward. And you know, Oral, if it goes good with the economy of a country, it's going to go good with the banks too. So it's a way of looking at a holistic picture when you want something else for a bank. But I think they are so spastic with how they move and function in this community that the whole day they are so focused on their money making side that they forget you have to have a healthy society too to be successful in business, and it goes hand in hand. But they have to realize that.
I think asking a young new business for a business plan is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why a lot of people in St. Martin are afraid to give their business plan because the ideas are stolen.
Yeah.
And they don't trust the banks. They don't trust anyone. Even the Chamber of Commerce, when they ask or assist people, they're afraid to give them their plan, their business plan ideas. This should not be a requirement to open an account at a bank in St. Martin. It shouldn't be. If we want to make things better for all people, we got to start to make things a little more simpler.
Oral, it's all about inclusion. It's all about, as I say, the bigger picture for the country. If we want to have progress in this country, we have to create comfort for each individual living in this country. As long as we see each other as enemies and we pretend to be families on this country, we are wrongly busy with this island. And I really believe that we have to now start working together to create common comfort that everybody has the right to actually develop in a great way in this country with your family, your kids. You would like to have a great life with you and your kids. Why the neighbor cannot have that? Let's do it for all. Make it a common aim of all of us to improve the livelihood of everybody in this country. And that you will see that everything is going to be more relaxed. Everybody is happy. Everybody has a share of the pie.
Yeah.
And St. Martin will be better. We just have to relax with each other.
I agree. The thing is, I see you got some things written down there. I don't know what it is, but I've been asking you a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
And is there something that you want to share with us that you think is important that I didn't ask you about? Because I don't write questions now. You know that by now.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No. What I've seen written here is just to make sure, in case you would have asked me something about dates of elections, that I would have everything ready for you, that I give you the correct information for no discussion on the wrong dates. But in principle, the only thing I want to make use of through your program is for the people to realize that they have one more chance with this country, and that is the 19th of August, for them to give the right people the mandate to move forward with this country.
I'm sure you would like to return as Prime Minister.
I would like to return back as Prime Minister. Destiny will determine that. I'm ready to help the country. I'm getting a lot of reaction and support outside there for how we started with this new period of governing. Thus, I hope that we will get the endorsement.
The elderly in St. Martin are oftentimes overlooked, and a lot of elderly people are doing real bad. Poverty among the elderly on this island is unbelievable.
I've said it, Oral. Poverty is taking over this country, even in a way that the principles of morals of the society are being exhausted. People do whatever they can just to survive. They even let go their principles and norms just to have some dollars on the table to feed their family. That is the level that we are in now in this country. And especially the elderly now are paying a very high price and have actually no quality of life while they have worked their whole life.
Right.
And instead of being compensated with the last phase of their life in an acceptable livelihood status, they are suffering now to actually survive the day on their age. I think that is not normal because they have done their share part too to get St. Martin where it is today. And now that they are older, they are going to be forgotten. And I think that is wrong.
And then you know what happened after that? When you get to 60, 65, then the government comes in and they're not finished with you. Now the tax man is looking after you. A lot of elderly people, this is their biggest complaint after can't buy food to eat. So they can't find sufficient money for food and medication, and then the government is hunting them down for a few guilders.
For a few guilders to kill them. Unacceptable. I'm in government now. unfortunately too short, but these are legislations that has to change, because I do believe you cannot continue taxing these elderly that are going through some challenging times already. I need more time, or that is all. I need more time to fix this place.
I just bring up these things to you
No.
because I think it's important.
Of
People tell
course.
me every day their problems, and some people, I'm surprised how they survive.
Yeah.
And they need people to give them a handout sometimes. And then they have all these problems, issues, especially taxes.
Yeah.
They're worried. They want to pay, but they don't have the money to pay.
Yeah.
But that's for the future. But when you look at the island, Doctor, the thing is that our young people, I want to now go back to it, because our young people, they're the future. And it seems like we're losing them. There's the kind of pride that we had growing up as young boys and girls in St. Martin. Today, there's no ambition, nothing to do anything good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised that government isn't taking a serious look at it. I know your period in government is very short, but over the last few years, government just don't care about the youth. Election time, they gave them a few money, gave them a few jobs on the block to clean the road, and that's it. That's not the future of our young people.
No, Arnold, we have to work on the future of St. Martin in one way, that educating them at the end of the day is going to actually adjust to the needs of the labor market. And what we're doing in St. Martin is we are sending them to school, but we're not asking ourselves why we're sending them to school. So if we could change our education system in a way that is going to adjust to the demands of the labor market, you're going to create, as a matter of fact, a little hope and future for the generation that is going to school.
Do you think that's possible?
I think it must be. No, it must.
Years.
No, but it's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
If you do not educate your populace to actually adjust them to the needs of the labor market, it makes no sense to educate people, because at the end of the day, you have people that went to school, and at the end you can't use them anyway. If I need a nurse today, Arnold, in the hospital, I have to import this nurse out of Suriname, out of Guyana, out of the Philippines. But I have kids going to school here every day, right?
Yeah.
Where are they? Where are they? And I think we have to try now to get a more adjusted educational system that actually supplies to the needs of the labor market of this country. If you want to build St. Martin, we have to be a little critical why and how we have to adjust our education in a way that is going to serve the bigger picture of country St. Martin. Forget the rest. Let's start thinking on St. Martin and adjust our education system to the future of St. Martin. That is what has to happen. Don't stay hanging around dreaming about education. No, make it practical. We need nurses, let's educate nurses. We need policemen, let's educate policemen. We need teachers, let's go with teachers.
But we got to also pay them well, or else they're not
going to come, of course. And most of the time we send them away to study. They're going to get a better paid job abroad. They're not going to come back. So we're going to lose them too. So we have a lot of work still to do for St. Martin.
So what's your day like right now, 24 hours?
Pardon?
What's your day like, 24 hours?
24 hours, and I wish I had more than that, because it's a lot of work. And you know, Arnold, we are laughing with this.
No, but
I'm telling you, it's so intense. It's overwhelming being a prime minister of a country, because you are in the middle of the problems of this country, and it confronts you every minute of the day, and then you realize how you have failed with your country in the past years to reach now to a point that everything is a problem in this country, and now you have to try to solve it too. And people look at you too, so solve it.
But now you see the belly of the beast, and it's not beautiful.
Exactly, it's not beautiful. But that doesn't mean that we lose the hope. We have to keep the hope in, and also the trust. We lost hope, and we lost trust in this country. It's time now for us to rebuild the hope, rebuild the trust, with exemplary leaders for the future of this country.
And give our young people direction, the sense of hope. You know,
and trust in your country, of course.
Because that is so lacking right now. But
of course.
But still, Doctor, this is a great island. People come here and they don't want to go back. They come on vacation, they want to stay.
St. Martin is great. St. Martin is great for everybody that comes here to visit. We have to now make St. Martin great for the people that lives in this country. And that's why Dr. Mercelina is sitting here, because he believes that we have to make St. Martin great also for the people that live here. Not only for the visitors, that of course, I want to sell that product to them too. But at the same time, I want to make the livelihood for the people living here better too. And that's why I'm sitting here.
Yeah. I want to jump back to, I didn't ask you earlier about this, but there are 2 ministers that were not appointed.
Yes.
Do you think that was an issue in this whole?
No, absolutely not. This has nothing to do with that. It's the fact that it's, as I explained already, it's there are no laws. And because a lot is being done with unwritten constitutional norms, habits, and history, you have a lot of momentum that you think, okay, is this okay? Is this not okay? But there is not a specific rule that you can attach to and say, okay.
Parliament couldn't do that
Pardon?
over the years? Parliament couldn't do that over the years?
Parliament could have done that. Everything could have been done in the years, but a lot has not been done.
Right.
And that's the price that we are paying now, of course. But I think these problems can be solved. I started already in the 3 weeks that I'm sitting as Prime Minister. I'm working already on, I started with the legal department of government, and I sent also a letter to the President of Parliament telling her, okay, let's start moving and working on procedures that has to be put in place, laws that has to be put in place for us to have a evident manner to deal with the screening of candidate ministers for the new government.
Okay. So again, you're preparing for the election of...
I'm preparing for the elections, but I'm not going to spend big money with elections. There is no money anymore. There is so much challenges outside here for us to start throwing with money again with election. We're going to touch the people's heart. We're going to try to convince them that we started with a new direction with this country, and we are counting on them for the big change that we have to continue for St. Martin.
Well, Dr. Mercelina, I want to thank you for being my guest here on Oral Gives Live, and anything else you'd like to add to the audience?
No, the only thing I want to add to the audience and the people that is looking at us is that I would like to thank them for the opportunity that they gave me to be their Prime Minister, even if it was for a short term. And I'm hoping that they're realizing that although we have been there for a short term, that a mindset change started already, and we have to start somewhere, and the mindset change has started already. And I'm counting on the people of St. Martin to give me the mandate to continue with what I envision for Country St. Martin. I'm relying on the people of St. Martin.
Well, I want to wish you much success.
Thank you very much.
That's Dr. Prime Minister Luc Mercelina on Oral Gives Live on Facebook, YouTube, and on Hot 99.9 FM radio. See you next time. Take care. Bye.